Okay, so y'all remember that gory movie about a group of people so oblivious to the point that it's actually concerning that take a vacation and stay in an eerie cabin in the woods just to immediately start being haunted after they listen to a recording of a guy saying words that are definitely, explicitly cursed, and then everybody dies? Yeah, they made a musical about that. I was planning to make a Urinetown video, but the only footage I found from the original cast was making the actors look like gremlins after being fed at midnight, which reminded me of another musical that has the characters sort of looking like gremlins in the recording, but like the nicer version? I don't know. I think that's the price I gotta pay for watching bootleg musicals. This musical is based on the original trilogy, ? For those who never watched it or remember, basically the first movie is about this guy, Ash Williams, that goes on a vacation in a cabin in the woods with his sister Cheryl, his friends Shelly and an asshole named Scotty, and his girlfriend Linda. They find a creepy recording of the owner saying he found something called the Book of the Dead and recites a passage that awakes the evil in these woods, killing them all one by one, except for Ash. It's full of silly jokes, which is not something I expected to find in a movie with a shit ton of gore, but I'm not complaining. The second one is basically a reboot, but without his other friends. Oh, it also shows Ash slowly getting insane, hitting his head at least 32 times, yes I counted, cutting his evil hand off with a chainsaw, almost getting killed by the concept of evil, and being sucked by a portal that sent his ass to the Middle Ages. So the second one's my favorite. And then there's the musical. The musical is something else. It's not different from the movies, not just because of the plot, but because they know there's stupid humor, somehow the characters are even dumber, and Scotty's still an asshole.
What a stupid bitch! Stupid bitch! You dumb assholes! A stupid bitch?
They even threw some meta jokes about the cast and crew and about how the movies were inconsistent with the plot. And sure, when I saw the title of that, I was just as confused as you probably are. I mean, how can you possibly make a musical out of that? And I get that. The premise seems weird, and it is, but you see that the crew and the actors were fans of the movies and clearly cared about making something fun for the other fans to enjoy, and it shows. And I'm here to talk about it 22 years later. The first track, Cabin in the Woods, is the absolute earworm. Oh my god, I am not touching on that. I don't need to have that song stuck in my head for 3 more weeks, thank you very much. Man, just talking about it makes me remember the little cabin in the woods, woo. That never happened. Anyway, the next part happens just like in the movie. They get in the you know what. There's noise coming from the cellar, the guys go investigate and they find an axe, a shotgun, an ancient dagger, the Necronomicon, old haunted tape recordings, you know, the usual stuff.
No.
After they listen to the recital of the passages and Cheryl starts to get uncomfortable, there's a song about how Ash and Linda met while working at S-Mart, and I was surprised that they turned something Ash mentioned in the intro sequence of the third movie into a whole thing. Although I thought that they said they all met in college for the first movie, but hey, the song's really good, so who cares? I know I'm here to talk about the musical, but I can't help myself to compare it to the movies. One small thing I liked about the first one was how the relationship between Linda and Ash was sweet. Despite what was happening in their surroundings, at least in my eyes, I could feel what they had was genuine, unlike the 5 minutes of screen time Linda got in the reboot. And in this version, the actors also have a lot of chemistry actually. It's pretty close to what they have in the original, and I just wanted to point that out because while I know this isn't a love story, it's still nice to see them acting like a couple. Call me a sucker, I don't care, I just like this part, and they did the best they could with the little time they had to cram the 2 movies together. And if you watch Evil Dead, you know damn well that what I just said doesn't really matter that much, and if you didn't, I'm so sorry, buddy. After that, there's the 3 scene with Cheryl, which isn't as traumatizing here as it is in the movie, thank God. And when she and Ash try to get out of the woods, the bridge, the smallest bridge, is destroyed. It Won't Let Us Leave is short, but I like that it's sung in a spooky tune to remind you that you're still watching a horror musical. And also the scene before that, when Cheryl begs to go home, the actress conveys her distress in such a good way, and the scene change doesn't make you have whiplash from tone shift. It has a flow to it that doesn't feel rushed, and I appreciate that. Danielle Meyer-Henry pretty much steals the show every time she's on screen, but we'll get into that in a second. Here we have Ed and Annie, my favorite pair in the show for obvious reasons.
Get there. Thanks for reminding me. What was it that he found in the Book of the Dead?
Oh, we better
You're right. We better get a move on if we're going to make it to the cabin at a reasonable hour. I missed you, Ed. I'm so glad we had this chance to talk.
Poor Ed. But also, I can't hate this version of Annie, not gonna lie, she's just too much of a girl boss. We get some exposition about the Necronomicon lore, yada yada yada, then we move away from the best duo ever to...
And now I'll ask you a question, not where or why or how, but who? Look who's evil now.
That's what I mean when I tell you she steals the scene. This song's silly, but also terrifying at the same time, like, bear with me. Imagine if instead of a deadeye just brainlessly started chasing you, it starts breaking it down and singing about how it's gonna kill you. Kinda reminds me of Star Kids, the guy who didn't like musicals, where the characters also get slowly zombified and start singing diegetic songs for the protagonist. That shit is horrifying. Man, I sure hope no one else in this cabin turns into a Kandarian demon. Aw, fuck.
Who's evil now?
It's fine though, she gets killed by her own boyfriend after that, so there's nothing to worry about. Except for the fact Ash's sister is still in the cellar and that the evil in her is heavily contagious, but eh. Now we get to what I think is the best musical number here, and also my honest reaction to this whole musical.
What the fuck was that?
I love it. The choreography, the stupid faces they make, I mean, they're terrified and yet they're dancing tango. And Danielle is here again, absolutely killing it with the overlapping melodies. Scott wants to bail and leave Ash to deal with this clusterfuck alone, and he does. Well, fuck Ash, I guess. Ash starts going mad while Cheryl makes terrible puns, and I mean terrible, and here we have something that caught me so off guard. I wasn't expecting that shit at all.
Jesus, Cheryl, the moose looks better than you. Ow!
Why, thank you.
I don't know, man. It's so stupid. Join Us feels like a fever dream. To be fair, this whole musical feels like a fever dream, but this song's also another spooky one, because it goes from the thing I just showed you to
You will bow before Lucifer as we devour the souls of the living, aiming towards the joy.
or something like that. Anyway, they trap Ash in the cabin and possess his hand, and Ryan Ward makes me think it actually has a life of its own so well, it's uncanny. Look at that guy. Then after dancing with the lamp and getting tortured by his own hand, he cuts it off. The dynamic duo is back, and they meet this guy named Jake to ask for directions to the cabin, but this guy, he's just some guy. Somehow, Ed doesn't seem to trust him, which prompts him to break into a song about how much he's reliable. Here's a list of everything he claims he's ever done or that he is. He's every senior citizen's favorite mime, the inspiration for the Shamrock Shake, the last man to walk on the moon, he won his 4th Oscar, invented the theory of relativity, wrote Jackie Chan's autobiography, coined the phrase fashizzle my nizzle before Snoop Dogg, and he can do double bypass surgery. And Ed still has the guts to just trust him even then? And to think I ever liked this guy. I mean, look at Jake, how can you not trust him? Meanwhile, Scotty comes back to the cabin almost dying, and Ash, who was still getting roasted by a demon, completely ignores the fact that his best friend's bleeding to death and asks him if there's a way out of this absolute fucking nightmare of a forest. Scotty says there's a trail before he finally dies and oh!
Look who's evil now!
The demon gaslights Ash into believing Linda's cured by singing their theme song, then Cheryl tries to do the same and
Don't do it, dude! She's still a demon! Both those bitches are! And... Oh, shit.
okay, then Ash ignores whatever the hell that was to save what he thinks is Cheryl, but she's obviously still a demon, so
Dude, I fucking told you
oh,
so!
shut the fuck up! Anyway, Ash chops Linda's head off. Or what it was supposed to be Linda, but it doesn't die because of course it doesn't. So he gets the chainsaw and has to cut her head. Okay, I'm not describing this. You know what it is. But right when Ash does that, Ed, Annie, and Jake arrive and see the absolute mess that's happening in there. They start to beat the shit out of Ash, rightfully so based on what they just saw, and lock him up in the cellar. When they realize that maybe, just maybe, Ash could be murdered by a Kandarian demon making terrible puns down there to get him out, and they're like, that's kind of your fault, man. You gotta get out of here. And then guess what happens?
Oh my god! Look who's evil now!
Yep, evil Ed now. But here's the thing, Ash doesn't give a single fuck about that, because he says that's just an extra, not a real big scary demon that's worth fighting, that they just wait for you to kill them. I mean, damn man, I know you're right, but you didn't need to say it like that, shit. Ed's song's basically a Mr. Cellophane of sorts, but at the same time they do the same gimmick Twisted made with No One Remembers Ahmed, where they sang a whole song about how people only remember him because of the tiger incident, long story. But he's actually the best guy ever, and then he became a big part of the story. That's kinda what they did here with Ed. But when he finally realizes he's not just an extra anymore, that happens. This next part is also just like the movie. Jake realizes the trail's gone, pronounces window funny, Ash and Annie start flirting, and I gotta say, not the time, guys. Not the time. Annie, your boyfriend just died, like literally, he died just now. And after that, naturally, they talk to Annie's ghost dad who says, read the passages of the book and save us all, or whatever. But then she drops a piece of lore that's my favorite addition they made to the story, and also my favorite solo in this musical. She says, every single man in her life keeps getting killed by Kandarian demons. Every single one. And she doesn't mean just Ed and her dad when she says every single one. She means her prom date, her college boyfriends, one-night stands, co-workers, her gay friends, and even the ones who simply shake her hand. I'm starting to think that the demons are not the main problem here. Jake goes crazy and threatens them with a freaking shotgun, and I thought you were reliable, Jake. If that's even your name. Fuck man, Ed was right. And right when we think shit's bad, it gets worse. And on top of that, Annie stabs Jake thinking it's Ash, which, how? Then he's the next one to be killed by a Kandarian demon. Huh, guess she was also right. Ash gets cured when he sees the necklace he gave Linda with the power of love, I guess. And I like that they do point out the inconsistency of the fact that Linda was literally wearing that necklace when she was a demon and still wasn't cured, so that's cool.
Groovy.
Oh my god, he said the thing! And he finally kills Cheryl, or like the demon. Annie and Ash start flooding again, despite their partners dying minutes ago, but whatever. Then she reads the passages. The thing about the passages is that they changed a little small detail about it. Instead of summoning the concept of evil, like I said before, they summoned the demons that died to do the time warp. Or, sorry, the Necronomicon. Not gonna lie, it's catchy as hell. I could see this song being played at Halloween parties right after Monster Mash. It's so funny though, in the white shot you just see Annie and Ash waiting for the ritual to end, the corn angel's like... But I will admit that as much as I hate Scotty, this song is entirely his time to shine. Yeah, we had the what the fuck was that moment, but it just doesn't feel the same. This scene is his. Even if it is an ensemble number, you gotta admit that Matt Olmstead had crazy stage presence. Now it's time for Annie to get stabbed! This makes Ash realize it's time for him to kill every single demon again. So they get into an epic fight, but they're not really putting up that much of a fight. Ash is just killing them, which is actually great, considering that Ash just got physically and mentally tortured for hours by them, so good for him. He's killing it. Annie comes back just to recite the passages, but when she opens the portal, she unfortunately dies before closing it, and Ash is, say it with me, you know this one, sent to the Middle Ages, exactly. And just like in the end of the second movie, he kills an evil bird and the people adore him. The end. This musical is such a roller coaster. It's crazy how this was the movie Rainblatt and Bond chose to adapt. Well, it kind of makes sense since they were trying to make the new Rocky Horror, and this had the potential to be as popular as Rocky, really. They did a pretty good job of adapting the first two movies and some of the stuff from the third one. It's interesting because Act 1 and 2 blend well, and you don't feel like the other characters have just been erased completely from the story.
But at least it's not a huge pile of bodies in the corner anymore.
Seriously though, it's fun to see how it's all played out. Though it's clearly a low-budget show by college students, you also have to remember that Raimi's version was also a low-budget movie. I think it just adds to the atmosphere, even more so when the play doesn't take itself too seriously. You can see they lean way more into the comedy than the horror aspect of the movie, and I think that's where it works so well. Plus, like I said, this was made by people who care about making something for the fans specifically, and that's more evident when they quote things directly from the movies, or when Annie says this thing about Spider-Man, for example.
How was my flight? Not great. Spider-Man was the in-flight movie, and yeesh, let's just say that was poorly directed.
Fun fact, the first ever Spider-Man movies were directed by Sam Raimi as well. Those are the ones she's referring to. The musical did gain a cult following as the years went by. I'm not saying it's totally unknown, but I just had to make a video about it to share this complete madness. I'll admit though, the first time I saw this, I wasn't expecting it to be that good. Honestly, the set and the practical effects are well made. They wrote the songs in a way that make them really get stuck in your head, looking at you, Cabin in the Woods and Kandarian Demons. The cast actually disappears into the role they're playing, especially Cheryl and Annie's actresses. Also, Ryan Ward actually looks and sounds like the original Ash. It's fun to see the even goofier side of him in this. My favorite moment in this musical is probably the one after Cheryl gets turned into a demon and says,
Who's the stupid bitch now, Scotty? Who's the stupid bitch now?
Then Scott gets offended. Like, hell yeah, get his ass. The funny thing is that this video was supposed to come out in June, but for reasons of procrastination, this was conveniently delayed for the spooky month, so happy Halloween! If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you can, please leave a comment, maybe with a suggestion for the next musical or just your overall thoughts about this one. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!
I know! She thinks she's so smart just 'cause she can read!